You were not very happy with the Bearcats' defense in Game 1, even though you won by 14, but you held UConn to 47 points and 31% shooting today. I would imagine you're pretty happy with the defense today.
Well, I thought our transition, other than we got up 14, they got a couple transition buckets, but we kept them out of transition. But what we try to teach our guys, that starts with offense. If you take care of the ball, you play a game, six turnovers, 4 of those are travels. So we don't throw the ball to the other team, so it's hard to go down and get layups against us. And then second piece of that is when you take care of the ball, you get off 66 shots. You got a chance to get a lot of rebounds, 17 offensive rebounds. So you don't even have to shoot the ball great. Obviously, a Sunday morning game. It's freezing up here. We've been living in balmy Cincinnati all winter. We all got off that plane. I was like, oh, no.
Winter.
What is this? But defensively, we were excellent, and that was the key to the game. And then Gary really tried to impose his will. It was fun to watch Gary come out of his shell and try to impose his will on the game. He could see that, Kyle didn't practice yesterday. He tweaked an ankle the other night, so he didn't do anything Friday or Saturday other than to try to rest. And to be honest with you, he could have, but he hasn't had, Kyle's never been hurt, and he doesn't ever take a day off. So I just figured, let him rest. It's good for the tournament anyway, to get him some rest. And I thought that would probably throw his rhythm off a little today. Gary's smart. He saw that. And then second piece of that, offensively, Jaron Cumberland really showed those youthful legs. Some of those seniors are out there, their mind might be on the tournament, Sunday morning game. Jaron's out there going after it. We had a good talk, he and I, yesterday about why Sean Kilpatrick is where he is. And that he's got to want it way more than anybody else that wants it for him. He was locked in today. Now he probably won't win Freshman of the Year in our league because his numbers aren't as gaudy on some of the other teams where freshmen have to play. But if you're on Cincinnati or SMU, it's tough. I would think that every coach would take him first in the draft of the freshmen in our league. But I thought he was excellent. He even taking it at the big fellas. And the reason I say that is he did it without making threes. He really, because there's been times this year where he made some shots and he falls in love with that. And my goal is, when I recruited him, I got to get him quicker, I got to get his ball handling better, and I got to turn him into an all-around player through Mike Rayfelt, and who I think is the best with his strength and conditioning, his agility, and then his playmaking ability, not just being a shooter. So he's a huge weapon for us going forward into the NCAA tournament. When you can have multiple guys that you can step up and get baskets for you.
I sensed today that the team was loose. Did you sense that? They just came out with a different, relaxed demeanor, like we're coming in here, we're going to take care of business.
Yeah, I with this group, I thought we had a great meeting last night. We had a lot of fun in the meeting. I had that feeling last night with our scouting meeting. And obviously you're out here more than me in the warm-up, so I'm sure you could see it carrying over. I think that the guys were pretty locked in on what we needed to do to beat UConn from a game plan standpoint. Is just stick to the game plan, we'll be fine. There was a minute there where the really only chance was to try to just go, just send everybody to the glass. They went from like one offensive rebound to 6 or 7 late in the first half as we were trying to pull away from them. And once we were able to stop them from doing that, they were going to struggle to score. They just were. This game's funny, but college basketball is about matchups. And right now, you can see it's just that we're a tough matchup for them. We may see them again, obviously, next Friday night. But I think you got to add the fact that Jackson didn't play for them. That when you're thin, I've been there. In fact, I've been there when I still have nightmares about coming in here 13 years ago. I don't know. I'm losing track of the years, Dan. 10 years ago. And they had about eight NBA players. And they're when you're out, when you're in their situation and you lose one guy, you say, well, it's just one guy didn't play today. But it has such a domino effect on you when you are thin, and they are right now.
For people who haven't seen Gary create the way he creates, your offense, where he catches the ball at the top of the key, he's always going to be matched up against a guy who's not as agile as he is. So if they back up, he shoots the three, or if they crowd him, he has the ability to create off the bounce and spin moves and all that stuff. Let's talk about Gary's performance tonight.
So the last time we played UConn, they put Brima, their 7-footer, on Kyle, and we moved Kyle out to the top and in our motion, and Kyle had 27 or so in the game. So today they put Brima on Gary, and I told Gary, I told him, I'm not going to stop doing it. You're going to have to shoot. Like, him taking 14 shots is like somebody else taking 28. I mean,
he's a reluctant star.
Oh my goodness, as you know, and it's like we're going to keep throwing it to you, and it's almost was a great thing to show him so he could see himself what he's capable of. Because he's such a reluctant star at times. He's so willing to play off of his teammates at times. But they put their center on him. So with his ability to shoot and beat their center off the dribble, I said, Gary, that's what we're playing off of. Now, when you pass it, then we'll play off of that. But it was good to see him. It was fun to watch because, it's a growth for him. And hopefully it gets his confidence going.
It's not easy to go 27-4. 31 games down, regular season finished. How are you able to keep such a team that experienced so much hardship last year focused on a game-to-game basis and not jump ahead to the next game?
Well, we try to talk to him about the key to, in college basketball, the hungry dog gets the bone, as Dan has written about. I'm big on that. And I think you got to give the players credit, Terry. See, coaches, obviously we have an impact. You try to set a standard of excellence in your program. But, look at Michigan State this year versus their Final Four years. The players are the difference. And when I think what Troy and Gary and Kev, what they need, Kyle was just what they needed. Because Jacob's still young. And he was an injection of confidence, of talent and confidence and energy every day and love of the game. But most importantly, he's beaten Duke, he's beaten Carolina, he's had big games, he's been to the Sweet 16. In his mind, if I let him, he would do a Terry Nelson. He'd predict we're going to win it all. That's just, but we need, you got to have a little of that. You guys had it, but you got to have some bravado. Mm-hmm. And you got to have a guy that's going to put out he puts in the energy too now. He puts in the work. So I think it's more the players than anything else. As coach, you can try to do a lot of stuff. And what experience taught me in my second year as a head coach was that it wasn't me. Because my first year as a head coach at Murray State, I won 28 games, and I ran the same stuff the next year, and I think we won 18. And I learned real quick, it wasn't me, it's the players. And I had some, we had some guys graduate, but, talent is the most important thing come March. Talent, and we have enough firepower.
Have you ever been in a game where you nearly had more rebounds than the other team had points?
It's crazy. But that, if you don't turn it over, so when you look at it and you don't turn it over and obviously you don't give them any transition, we did a pretty good job too with our scouting report on their two main shooters. I think it gives you a chance, but we didn't really even offer, they blocked out pretty hard. Obviously Gary caught an elbow, they were face blocking out guys. There's only so much you can do, but 47's a good number. That's 2 straight right there.
Correct. Against two teams that can score.
One on the road, we were due for a road performance like this. The assistant coaches talked to the guys about it, that we've got to become the same team away from our arena. Away from home, we've got to become the same team. A team that can 67 on an average day, capable of 80 on good days, because that's what we're going to need going forward.
Congrats on a great win.
Thanks, guys.
End
Appreciate
season
it.
today.
That's on the season.
27-4, 16-2 in the league after beating UConn today 67-47. We'll take a timeout.